Hey guys, alright, today we are watching an Unknown 5 video, this time 5 creepy and disturbing photos from World War I. Trust me, there are definitely more than 5 creepy and disturbing photos. I don't know what to expect because I've obviously never watched this video and I do not seek out usually videos like this. However, Unknown 5 does get me views for this channel, so I'm going to watch it. Yeah, let's go ahead and just start watching, see what happens.
The First World War was a brutal and depressing conflict, because of the lack of video and audio recording equipment at the time, very little media from the war is available when compared to World War II, so it is often overshadowed. But there is something about the merging of the old...
Like, they only happened like 20, 30 years apart, you know, depending on when you look at generally, when you consider, depending on what you consider the start of World War II, or the World War II timeline. You know, some people start counting like World War II era history from like 1933 till the end of 1945, because rise of Hitler and then fall of Hitler 1945. And then some just do 1939 to 45, so whatever, depending on whenever you say it's 20, 30 years. But in that time span, in those couple decades, a lot happened. A lot more shit got recorded, and it's just crazy, just the sheer difference of stuff that was recorded from in World War II compared, like the stuff that's available, the documents that are available of World War II compared to World War I is just insane.
Old World and New World that has produced numerous images which are incredibly haunting and disturbing. While researching for this video, I came across a huge variety of pictures. However, these are 5 that I personally found particularly touching. At the end of the video, let me know if you agree and what you thought about the pictures in the comments below. Number 5. The Wall of Masks. This photo depicts the unnerving sight of 18 plaster casts taken from the faces of men disfigured from their injuries in battle. The modern weaponry used in the First World War, combined with the giant scale of the battles, resulted in a huge number of injuries that doctors at the time simply could not treat. Medical technology was lagging severely behind military technology,
God, that was creepy.
And disfigured soldiers struggled to deal with people's reactions to their often horrific injuries, as well as the sight of their own face looking back at them in the mirror. In many hospitals, mirrors were banned as the sight of his injuries would often cause a soldier to faint. Plastic surgery was virtually non-existent, and the wounded soldier faced a lifetime of staring strangers and pointing children. Anna Coleman Ladd was a sculptor who devoted herself to helping these disfigured soldiers. She helped to produce facial masks that would cover disfigurements and help the wounded man to lead a somewhat normal life.
Hold up, is that a fucking mask right there? That is good. That's talent. Oh my god.
A single mask could take a month of work. Once the soldier's wounds were healed, a plaster cast would be taken of his face, and using the cast as a base, the lengthy process of producing a mask would begin. The mask would cover the man's facial injuries and would often be held on by glasses.
That's
Great effort was taken to match the mask with the rest of the man's face, including skin color and tone and bone structure.
That's really
good. These pioneering efforts led to great medical advances, many of which would be used to treat the horrendous injuries that World War II would inflict upon the next generation.
I don't like that photo.
Number 4. Russian gas masks.
This
creepy photo depicts a group of Russian soldiers staring at the camera through their gas masks.
What the fuck,
Gas masks have become synonymous with World War I, and they were first used to counter poison gas attacks, which were designed to demoralize, disable, and kill enemy soldiers who were stubbornly dug in to well-fortified trenches. Trench warfare favoured defensive strategies, and so gas was deployed in a desperate effort to overcome the stalemate that had descended upon the battlefields of Europe. The first gas attacks came as a surprise and were devastating to the unprotected men in the trenches.
Keep those sleeves down if you're going
Many types of gas were deployed, but of all of them, mustard gas is the most well known. First used in 1917.
What are those masks?
Those unfortunate enough to be hit by the gas would suffer terrible injuries such as blistered skin, internal bleeding, and closed airways. Those soldiers killed as the result of mustard gas attacks would often take several agonizing weeks before succumbing to death. Each country quickly produced their own crude masks to protect their soldiers, and as the war dragged on, gas attacks became less effective. As initial versions of the gas masks were so hurriedly produced, they were often very basic and had the unintended effect of giving the soldiers who wore them a very creepy and disturbing appearance. The Russian soldiers depicted in this
putting
photo
it lightly.
are the lucky ones, however. An estimated 56,000 Russians died during gas attacks on the Eastern Front due to a lack of gas masks. Number 3. The Battle of Passchendaele Dead Forest. This eerie photo shows the devastating effects the Battle of Passchendaele had on the surrounding landscape. Chateau Wood is shown in the background, and what was once a forest packed with life now resembles something from another planet.
Yeah.
Fought between July and November 1917, the Battle of Passchendaele is infamous for the mud, destruction, and scale of casualties inflicted, which were somewhere in the region of 500,000 to 750,000 combined casualties.
Over how
4.5
long?
million shells were fired during the battle, which accounts for the total devastation of the local landscape, and heavy rains combined with the constant shelling turned the ground into a quagmire of mud so deep that many men suffered the horrific death of drowning in the mud. However, Passchendaele was not unique in its level of destruction, and battles throughout the First World War turned the land they were fought upon into an unearthly hell where anything living struggled to survive. Number 2. The Armoured Soldier. This picture shows a soldier equipped in Brewster body armour, in what looks like some sort of alternative reality steampunk universe. Weighing 40 pounds, the armour consisted of a breastplate and helmet, which could actually withstand certain calibers of bullet. They were a crude attempt at protecting soldiers from the frightening killing capabilities of the modern machine gun. War often spurs innovation, and at the beginning of 1914, the distinctly 19th century armies of Europe were simply not prepared for the industrial scale killing of 20th century warfare.
I don't think anyone was,
In a war that saw the redundancy of the old ways of fighting, people quickly realised that infantry needed protection against the devastation being wrought by the machine gun and modern artillery. Each of the armies engaged in the war came up with their own version of body armour. However, they were very clumsy, heavy and expensive, and with millions of soldiers engaged in battle all over the continent, equipping soldiers with body armour on a large scale simply was not feasible. It was estimated by the British Army Medical Services that over 3/4 of battle injuries could have been prevented had the soldiers been issued adequate body armour. In a war that inflicted about 11 million casualties, it's nothing short of a tragedy that combat body armour never became widely used. Number 1. The Shell-Shocked Soldier. Taken in 1916,
this is one of the most popular
this
photos of the
haunting
war.
photo depicts a man suffering from shell shock, who has clearly been pushed over the edge of sanity by the horrors he has witnessed. His piercing stare and unnerving smile are a fitting testament to the madness-inducing brutality of World War I trench warfare. The term shell-shocked was first coined by the World War I soldiers themselves, and was a reaction to the sheer intensity of the artillery bombardments that were often used in an effort to destroy enemy trenches. During the Battle of the Somme, the British Army fired over 250,000 shells on the first day of the battle, the noise from which could be heard over 300 miles away. If the barrage could be heard so far away, it's hard to imagine just what the noise would have been like on the front line. Many soldiers suffered instantaneous deafness in their ears, as eardrums were perforated by the concussive effects of the shells exploding, and soldiers with bleeding ears were not an uncommon sight. Such massive artillery bombardments were common throughout the war, and as the months passed, the numbers of men showing signs of shell shock mounted. Symptoms included headaches, amnesia, tinnitus and nausea, and some men simply ceased to function under the stress of battle.
I believe this photo is, I think I've heard the story of this photo. I think that's an Irishman. I think these are British soldiers here. British officers at the very least, I think. Could be wrong though, this could also be Russia. But I think this is British. Because there was like a soldier that did not want to fight or something. Something was up. And he got executed for it.
Sadly, the condition was not formally recognised, and many men suffering from shell shock were executed for cowardice and desertion. Although exact numbers are unknown, it's estimated that hundreds of men suffering from shell shock may have been executed throughout the war. So that's my choice for 5 creepy and disturbing photos from World War I.
What the fuck? Can I go to a non-creepy photo? Let's go to this photo there, so we don't have to look at something fucking creepy as I talk for a minute or so. My God, I think the photos 3 and 2. I don't think those were all that creepy. I think the first two photos we saw were definitely creepy, and then of course the shell-shocked soldier was definitely disturbing. But yeah, oh, World War One was just horrible. I whenever I talk about World War One, I don't really know what to say too much in reactions to stuff like this because it's a war that should not have happened. It really should not have. Uh, People were just itching for a war to test out their new guns, their new toys, and they wanted to see what would happen. Despite, if they had just looked at the American Civil War, they would see what a modern war can do in casualties. 600,000 Americans died in the American Civil War. And that would be 6 million today alone. If you just take the proportion and put it to today's numbers. So the killing capability of modern weaponry was known if they just paid it. If they knew what they could do. So because the American Civil War happened, that is arguably one of the first modern wars, because of early machine guns, whatnot. But yeah, and also total war because the Union would burn down towns in the South. But this isn't a video about the Civil War. This is a World War One video. But yeah, they knew what their toys could do, or maybe they just refused to pay attention to what their toys could do, and they just wanted to fight. Who knows? But yeah, World War One should not have happened. And that's about all I'm gonna say here at the end. Definitely, I'd say 3 of the 5 photos are creepy. 2 of them, not really. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.